friends, welcome back. Today we are going to be going through my IUD experience. In this video, we will be basically going through my experience, but also answering the questions that you guys sent in on Instagram, as well as just overviewing some basic facts and information about IUDs in general. I thought I would share this video with you, this experience with you, because like most of my health experiences, it was not excellent and it was not typical. I thought I would just share it with you so you could have the information that I sure didn't when I went into this. Before we get into the video, full disclaimer, we will be talking in depth about the female reproductive system, kind of the anatomy, the experiences of everything, and birth control. So if that's not something that you're into, I do have a couple chill, happy vlogs that you can tune into. I'll link them down below. But if you are looking at different types of birth control, if you're looking at an IUD, specifically a Hormonal Mirena IUD, let's get into the video because wow, do I have a story for you. First of all, an IUD is short for an intrauterine device. This is a form of birth control where the device, I'll put a little picture here, is inserted by a trained physician into your uterus and it stops pregnancy. Now that we know what exactly it is, we'll get into first why I chose an IUD. Back in the winter of 2015, I unfortunately found out that I had a blood clot in my portal vein near my liver. I was in the hospital for a week and I was on blood thinners for months afterwards. Now, when you're on blood thinners, you are supposed to stop all birth control. This is what my physician told me. It's just not safe to be on birth control, the pill form of birth control, when you are taking, I was taking rivaroxaban, but warfarin, any kind of blood thinner. So I was taken off my previous birth control, which was tricycline low, just a pill form birth control, and I have been taking this since grade 9. I had really struggled with my acne and my family physician told me it would really clear up my acne, which it did, and so I never questioned it and just continued to use it up until this blood clot. After the blood clot, I was on nothing because I wanted to explore my options. I was also in university my second year and I wasn't really into natural health, natural medicine at all at this point in my life. In February of 2016, so about 2 months later, I had gone to see a couple doctors, a couple nurses, some physicians, just to suss out my options, and it was decided that the IUD, the Mirena IUD, was probably the best solution for me. My IUD was inserted in February of 2016. The Mirena hormonal IUD can stay inserted up to 5 years. So mine is up in this year, 2021, in February. I have gotten this question a lot. The insertion process was memorable. And I don't want to scare you away from it because it's really, really short, but it is memorable. Anatomically, what the physician is doing is they are going into your lady part and opening your cervix, and then they are putting the IUD into your uterus. So you are gonna feel that, and they don't put you under for this unless you need to be put under for it. I had an excellent physician. I had somebody that told me what to expect and what was going to happen before it even happened, so I was prepared. I also had a nurse there holding my hand. I wish that I had known I could bring my fiance back there, but I just didn't know at the time. I would have. I recommend you bring a friend in with you when you go in. With different regulations going on right now, you might not be able to bring a friend in, but if you are able to, I highly recommend you just have somebody there just to hold your hand. So when it started, I did feel the clamp down there, and then they open it up and it feels like you are having the biggest period pain of your life, and it's not stopping, and there's nothing you can do to fix it because you can't really curl over because again, they're inserting a device inside of you at that point. But it is over within 30 seconds at the max, at the absolute max. And there is a little bit of slight cramping, like you feel like your period's coming on, just those light cramps afterwards, but it doesn't last all day. I was advised to take some Tylenol before my appointment just to kind of get ahead of the pain that I was gonna be in. I would recommend that as well. I found that it did help. Now my IUD is in and everything is fine. I'm going along my day. And then I noticed that I am spotting a lot, and you can expect that you will be spotting and you might have a period afterwards. I was on my period for 3 weeks. I'm not even joking. I was literally on my period the day after I got my IUD inserted, about mid-February. And then mid-March was when it stopped. It was consistent, and I did go to the doctor. I asked if anything was wrong, if this should be abnormal, if I shouldn't be on my period, because I read that a lot of people actually lost their period. She said this was my body regulating itself. It was just evening out, and if it lasted more than a month, then yes, that wasn't typical and we needed to look into it. If it just stopped after a month, then we were fine, and if my body had regulated. After the month mark, my body stopped bleeding, and I was so thankful because it was getting expensive. And after that, everything was pretty normal. I didn't get my period anymore. I didn't have cramps. I didn't feel it. Everything was completely fine. And when I told my friends that, yeah, I don't get my period anymore, they were all jealous. But before you just listen to the pros of the conversation, please listen to the rest of it. So everything was fine for about a year and a half, and then in 2017, around mid-2017, late 2017, I got my period back. And it wasn't like the traumatic February period that never ended of 3 weeks of heavy flow. It was beautiful because in my whole life, I had never had a regular cycle. So this was new to me, and it just lasted, it was really light. It lasted 2 to 3 days every 3 weeks. It was like clockwork. Now this happened for about 6 months. So we were out of 2017 and into 2018. And then mid 2018, around just after spring, I want to say before summer for sure, everything stopped. I stopped getting my period. I stopped feeling fine, and I started to break out. I started to notice that I had hair on my upper lip. My mood swings were just wild. My stress levels were out of control. And most specifically, I think, I was having this deep uterine pain. Now, I do have IBD, ulcerative colitis. You can check out my health video. I will link that down below, and it explains all of that. So I do know stomach pain. I know what those cramps feel like. This was a uterine, pelvic, not my stomach area at all, and it felt so internal, and it was so painful, like you were gonna be on your period. But also it reminded me of the insertion process, that cramping right on your cervix. It was really painful, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do, but I did know that this was not normal. And especially after having a regular period, after never having a regular period and then it just stopping, I decided to go to a doctor right away to suss out what was going on, because my body just wasn't behaving like it normally or ever had. I went to see a couple doctors, and I was tested for all kinds of wild things, like thyroid imbalances to lupus, and it was all shut down. They were really, when I told them about the symptoms, when I told them what was going on, they were really intrigued, really interested, really wanted to figure out what was going on. But when my blood work came back as weird or normal, but sometimes atypical, they kind of just dismissed it and said that my body was regulating itself, whatever that means. I felt pretty defeated after all this. My body was still acting chaotically. My mood swings, my stress levels, my acne, my facial hair, and again, this sharp uterine pain. I decided to go back to the physician that put my IUD in, and I did talk to them about this pain, and she said that it was regular cramping that can happen. That's fine. I was totally dismissed. So I decided if I'm not going to be heard, then I'm going to take it into my own hands. I decided at that point in the fall of 2019, I was just going to get my IUD taken out so that if it was a factor of all this, it wouldn't be a factor anymore. By this point, I had thankfully moved back home with my fiance, my pup, and my cat, and I was able to see my family physician. Now, I went in the fall of 2019 to just ask for a referral because they informed me that they weren't trained to take the IUD out. I want to say all gynecologists are trained, but not all doctors are trained. And there are some nurses that are specifically trained, so don't just assume somebody can take your IUD out, because sometimes you're going to be waiting a while. So it's best to get ahead of it than to be behind on it. We're in the fall of 2019. I have gone to my family doctor. I've asked for the referral. It is now January of 2020. I have not heard anything whatsoever, not from the gynecologist, not from my family doctor. So I just decided I would touch base with them, see what was going on. Turns out he never sent the referral out. This is where I start to lose faith in my family doctor. Anyway, I decide that's fine, whatever. Can you just please resend it as soon as possible? There's nothing else I can do other than to ask them to send it immediately with some emphasis on it. So the lady I'm talking to, she's fantastic. She's like, I'm gonna make sure he does this right away. I know how important this is. This is reproductive health. Thank you. Thank you, reception worker. Referral goes out and I hear back that I've actually been referred for an ultrasound. And I understand why. Now, when you have an IUD and they want to take it out, they don't want to have any surprises when they go in there. So typically what they'll do is they'll make you get an ultrasound just to make sure that the placement is ideal to come out. They would want to make sure it's not hooked on anything, not stuck, or not cramped in there. So I got my ultrasound. They said everything was fine. And honestly, she said that she couldn't tell me much, but that my doctor would. She said that there was nothing alarming when she first looked. Whew. We're all good. So I continued on with my life. I got a call back from my doctor. They said that the IUD looked like it was in a perfect place to come out. The notes said that everything was clear and ready to go, and they would book me in later that month. They actually booked me in exactly a month. I got my ultrasound on July 28th of 2020, and I got my IUD removal appointment August 28th of 2020. So I'm really excited to get this finally taken care of, finally taken out. And you have to keep in mind, we are now well into 2020. Things are happening around the world. Things are shutting down. So unfortunately, like I said, Dame is not allowed to come in with me, even though I know that this is probably going to be an uncomfortable process. But I am so thankful I have a lovely, lovely nurse. When I got to the removal appointment, they had actually asked in a nurse that had been doing removals and insertions for years. So she was quite experienced, and she was actually going to teach my physician how to take them out as well, which was fantastic. I have always been the kind of learning dummy for doctors, so I'm pretty used to it. So I was completely okay with it, pretty open about all this. Unfortunately, this was well into 2020, so they did tell me it would be uncomfortable, a little painful, but Dame couldn't come in with me. He could wait outside, of course. I did have a great nurse though, so it wasn't that scary. We go into the room and she's overviewing my ultrasound saying, yep, okay, everything looks good. Looks like we are ready to go. She sets up, she's overviewing what is going to happen and the process in depth so that my physician can, again, learn what she is doing. And basically all they're doing is what they did first, reverse. So they're going to go into your lady parts, and then they are going to open your cervix, and then they're going to take the device this time and just take it out instead of putting it in. Sounds pretty simple. And honestly, it's really quick. It happens pretty fast. Again, 30 seconds tops, unless something goes wrong. So they ready me, they say, okay, it's gonna feel like a cramping and then it's gonna be over, okay? It was one of the most painful experiences I have ever felt. Now, skip forward to this time if you don't want to hear exactly what the process was like and felt like, but we'll begin. So getting it removed should have, again, just felt like some cramping and then out. But unfortunately, mine was stuck. Mine did not come out, and it felt like someone was trying to take out my belly button from my lady parts. I'm so sorry, but that is the best way I can describe it. And I do not want anybody to go in there ill-prepared, because I was, and it was a shock. I screamed. It was so painful, and I'm not normally someone that likes to let on that I'm in pain, because I understand physicians, nurses, doctors, I don't want to make your job any more difficult than it has to be. But oh, I was not ready for this sharp pain, and I just let out a yelp and started bawling, and my body was rigid. I had cramps all over. It was honestly pretty traumatic, and pretty traumatic for, unfortunately, the nurse that was trying to remove it as well. She said that she had been doing this for 7 consecutive years, just taking care of female reproductive anatomy, inserting IUDs, taking them out, and this had never happened to her in 7 years. So she said it stuck out in her mind as well. They decided that they weren't going to try again. They weren't even going to try and touch it. If I had any bleeding, any spotting, any major pain at all, to go to the emergency. But the best that they could do for me was to just get me a referral to an experienced gynecologist that could put me under, put me out, and then take it out. So the referral gets sent out that day. I'm actually watching my doctor do it this time to make sure that he actually follows through and sends it through. But I actually don't hear back from the gynecologist until October of 2020, and they call me asking what kind of IUD I would be having inserted. I outlined to the very nice lady what had happened, that I was actually going to have my IUD taken out because it was stuck. They were so shocked. They said they would have rushed this if they had known that it was stuck IUD, but of course they had booked up, so the earliest that they could get me in was December 22nd of 2020. I had now been trying to get my IUD out for a year and a half now. So please make sure that, again, when you want to get your IUD out, you're doing it earlier than later, because this was a year and a half process just to get it out. So I go to the gynecologist on December 22nd, right before Christmas. We're very happy, we're very cheerful. And she thankfully doesn't want to try and take it out herself right then and there. She wants to inspect it and just chat with me. Because when you do have to go under and get it taken out, it's kind of a longer process. You have to go in for a day surgery, so she wanted to make sure for herself that it was indeed stuck. I get on the table, she susses it out, she decides that yes, indeed, it is very stuck. And I actually do have this question for her because this was in my mind the whole time. I got my ultrasound. The ultrasound said that everything was ideal, everything was fine, and nothing monumental happened to say like shift my IUD within that month span that I got the ultrasound and I got the IUD taken out initially. I was so confused. Why could it say that my IUD was perfect to come out, and then when the time came a month later, everything had stopped, even though those cramping, those pelvic pains had been there the whole time. Nothing had changed. And unfortunately, she just said that sometimes that happens. Sometimes it looks like an IUD is ready to come out when unfortunately it is not. It can just be stuck inside the uterine wall. And she said that looks like what happened to me. Unfortunate, but again, a low statistic. Why am I always the low statistics? I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but again, I'm here making these videos for you so that if it happens to you, you know you're not alone and you know what to do. So today is February 22nd. I still have my pain, my uterine pain, and I know it is uterine pain. I also still have my facial hair. It is just a slight mustache that you can only see if you are looking right at me. But I swear it's there. I swear it's there. I wish I'd taken pictures because I understand peach fuzz, having to wax your upper lip, but I have never had dark brown hairs coming out of my upper lip. That doesn't happen. Until this, of course. So that's still happening. My acne is still happening. I'm also experiencing weight retention. I found out that's been happening for probably 2 years. I've always loved working out and I've always seen results when I start my project. Until, again, these last 3 years, I've seen no progress whatsoever. No matter how much I train, no matter how clean I eat, no progress. So my physicians have put it on, that's weight retention, and hopefully after your IUD is out, it'll slide off. That is all still happening, and I am so excited because on February 22nd, I'm getting blood work, and then on February 25th, I am getting my IUD out. I will be vlogging and capturing this entire experience of actually getting it removed, having to go in for surgery to get it removed, but I thought that if I tried to put that into this video, it would make it way too long, and nobody really wants to watch like an hour-long video about IUDs. So I thought that I would put this half in for you now. You know where we are, you know what is going on, and then after my IUD is removed, we will go through that process, and then a month after, I will let you know all the changes that have happened and all the things that are currently going on. I will not be getting another IUD. Like I said, I have a Hormonal Mirena IUD, and I will not be getting a new one. I really want the takeaways from this video to be to do your research. Please make sure that you are looking at all kinds of research. I really just listened to my physicians, took their pamphlets, and listened to them. I didn't do my own research. I didn't look online. I didn't look at articles. I didn't watch YouTube videos. I didn't talk to friends about it. Well, nobody I knew had one. Looked at multiple facets so that you are looking at different avenues, different lifestyles, different people, different experiences, mainly so that you know the signs. If you decide that the IUD is for you, if it is your perfect solution, then when you have it, and if something does go wrong, then you'll be aware of it. You'll know that that is wrong. You've heard of that before, you know what to do now. Another thing I want to be this takeaway is to advocate for your health. I really need to stay on my doctor, and I am going into the process of changing up my family doctor just because I wasn't happy with how I was being treated. I will probably keep them on as a family doctor, but then just switch over to a professional gynecologist because my female reproductive needs were completely dismissed, completely ignored in that experience. And honestly, I'm really scared to see what it's left me with. So I really recommend advocating for your health. Don't feel like you're a pain. Don't feel like you're a burden. This is your right, your body, your say. I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here, listening to me. I hope that this really helped you, whether you're getting an IUD, whether you're just trying to decide whether you have one and you're not quite sure what's going on. I hope this helped, and I'm really excited to capture my IUD removal. Make sure that you are subscribed and hit that bell notification so that you know when that video is coming to you. And also make sure that you follow me on Instagram at live_better_. I story every day. And again, just thank you so much for being here. All this support, all this beautiful community. It's such a beautiful light to be in. I hope you have a great day, and bye.